Hot top sports where the takes don't miss. The prof with the stats, the champ with the fist. Water bringing fire, cowboy tie riding bold. Bulls calling bets, watch the stories unfold. And it's truly eyebrows running the show. It's hot top sports, baby.
Let's get it. Let's go. Good evening. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold, whatever you want to have. I'm fighting for my life. But if Lane's flying, I'm flying. You know what I'm saying? So we got to rock and roll here. We got a few things to talk about. We'll keep it kind of a little short and sweet one here. Get some things off our chest. Let's talk about a few things. Obviously, with each passing day, more news comes out, more feelings come out on how people think things should go. And I'm going to give you my thoughts, my takes. We're going to read a few things, and then we'll go from there as we always do, and try to get a pulse of where things are at. Obviously, I would say that the big takeaway from today is that Florida is like the Lightning McQueen meeting. You're fading fast, McQueen. You're fading fast. And we're going to talk about that and feel like, hey, is Florida actually fading? Or are they making some other moves? I haven't a thought on that, and we're going to get into it. This show is, of course, brought to you by Kalshi. We're going to dive into Kalshi here in just a little bit and see where Kalshi feels things are, as well as we've used them this entire time to get a pulse, if we could. Today, some odds dropped in favor of LSU that Lane Kiffin was now the favorite. Now, that was just for LSU, mind you, right? That's not comparing to Florida. Was plus 300, I believe, to land the LSU job. So, that was kind of the big hammer that dropped today. Now, as for where the noise started coming from on Florida fading, it probably not started with this, but this was like a couple hours ago. But the noise was just loud for LSU. And I feel like even we've talked about this, even when LSU was brought into the mix and Florida was brought into the mix, and even with Ole Miss almost pouting, if you will, right? And kind of just seeing the writing on the wall, due to the circumstances, they've never been out of it. Like, and this is why I keep talking, is like, if I'm Ole Miss, I'm pissed. In all reality, like I know they think and they believe they're still in it, which I genuinely think they are. But he's already there. So it seems like it's such an easy thing, like, oh, they gave me everything I wanted. I'm good. I can stay. Because it's not just that. There's so many more pieces to this puzzle that's why Ole Miss continues to be brought along to a part of this show, part of this, this thing that's going on back and forth. They scare me a ton. They really do. Just because, again, he's already there. And if for whatever reason, if Florida if does fall off this thing and loses, if it's to LSU, if they lose, it's going to be bad, right? But if it's to LSU, it's going to be detrimental. All right? It's going to be really bad for old Scotty Strickland and the boys if they lose to LSU. Because it's just like you can't manage with the big dogs. That's what that tells me. If you lose to Ole Miss, I think you could kind of chalk it up to kind of being in the situation of just it's Ole Miss, right? So that's my theory on that. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm just trying to play these things around here, and figure it all out Spirit Ben from Ole Miss. This is what was being kind of shared across the internet today. So it's posting what I heard on the Ole Miss staff side without anything else added. Mind you, this is the same guy that said that Lane was gone and headed to Florida. So like you got to take all these things with a grain of salt. But these things, when it fits a narrative, it moves a needle. The irony is when Florida was taking the lead, or essentially, or felt that it was very favorable, all your big head media guys like the Pickles of the world and whatnot were kind of throttling Florida. Like, why would you ever leave Ole Miss? Now LSU's leading the way, and it's like, makes total sense. Makes total sense. That's the place to go. The media bias is just, we knew they hated us, but they could navigate it before. Their hubris is starting to get ahead of them a little bit on this one. They're feeling a little bit too cocky. And I will say that even with the fading, with the feeling that Florida is fading, I have a theory that I think Florida might be tucking their hubris a little bit. Like, let's operate a bit different this time. Let's navigate this, not typically how Florida likes to do. Everyone wants to be loud in the equation. Let's be quiet. And Florida fans don't like it. We don't like to be quiet. We want to be loud. We want to be proud. And right now, and I'll read this thing to you. This is where I'm starting to, there's a little bit of excitement. Graham Hall, who's been all over it today. Graham Hall for 247. Phenomenal job, by the way. We love Graham. He has been tweeting some things about how he's heard some good stuff, or not tweeting, but it's been on the boards. And listen, I'm not trying to break their boards and stuff, but like this stuff travels like water on rice. If you guys want to be, look, I'm gonna plug all these guys. If you guys want to be, I've got nothing but love and respect. Real quick appreciation post for the Zach Alberverdes, for the Graham Halls, for the Cam Parkers, for the Dylan Olives, for who am I forgetting? Our Zach Goodalls, right? Even Dan. I mean, I know y'all want to hate on Dan right now, but the man's out there. Everyone, even David Swolder, our guys in the Discord, Delta, Woods, Bill, Dave, everybody that's been involved trying to figure out Hollywood. I'm probably forgetting some names that have been trying to just get as much information as possible and know what's happening. Kudos to those guys. Those guys are killing it. Are absolutely killing it. And I'm proud to be associated with those guys and at least work alongside them if that's what you want to call it. But anywho, Graham Hall put this in his thing. But basically he felt excited, but then he also just put, I've been told to shut up, so I'll show more when I can, which I love. I love. I was starting to get to the point where I was like, I'm tired of hearing stuff, because if I'm hearing it, it's gonna get even further than that. Like, I don't want to know anymore. We are in the witching hour where wins become losses and losses becomes wins, and we need to button down the hatches and just lock this thing up, seal this thing up. But the guy from Ole Miss says, posting what I heard on the Ole Miss staff side and without making any else added, all the assistants have been sent out on the road to finish out 2026 recruiting class, and Lane Kiffin addressed the assistants this morning and talked about how they're building a dynasty here. Make of that what you will. There all seems to be coming to a head. The meeting between Keith and Carter and Kiffin tomorrow looms large. That is another big thing we'll be discussing here in just a minute. It's Ole Miss or LSU right now, in his opinion. There's an absolute chance he still ends up at LSU, but I'm still sticking with my revised prediction from last night. Kiffin ends up staying at Ole Miss. But I recognize it could be fully wrong. You want to know what y'all want to know what we hear. That's something I've heard, and who it came from made me compelled to make this post. And again, that's who scares me the most. That's who scares me the most, is going to be the Ole Miss side of things. But if that's the case, why haven't we, you can ask so many questions. You can ask so many questions on why it hasn't moved forward yet. And again, in that same breath, right, I've heard positive things as well. Again, I don't feel like the people that we have spoke to and talked to, that there hasn't been necessarily a shift in energy from this side. Like, I'm looking around and everyone's like, I mean, both LSU and Ole Miss are kind of mocking and saying that we're out of it. And so I think we're kind of looking around. It's like, well, what do you mean we're out of it? It's like the Lane Kiffin interview. Like, you know something I don't know? So, which could be scary, right? Or it could be a move. I got to blow my nose. Hanging in there. Couple big super chats real quick. Hold on. Holy smollies, chilling with Scuba Steve, baby. $50. Missed last night's show. Please put this towards the kids. Absolutely. Merry Christmas and Feliz Navidad. Man, I told the wife what we're going to be putting down on the kids. She's like, we're going to have enough. We're going to have another car to put it all in. I know. She's like, if there's a church we want to handle it, let's figure it out. $5. The media has an agenda. They hate us because they know who and what we are when we are good. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get the hate. $5 from Deldrick. No matter what happens, we got to keep VB3, Dallas Wilson, Ball, Jay Woods, Miles, Aaron Childs, Hanks, and the 2 5-star safeties. There's a lot to keep. We'll have to definitely cross that bridge when we get there. One thing I mean that's been passed around is that we've officially moved on from Eli as of now. I already thought that we did. So do with that with what you will. And why that's important, because we'll go into today's sponsor. It's you see the odds here, right? So for Florida, Jed Fish is at 20%. He's kind of just sat there this whole time now. It's kind of funny because that's the name that I've talked about continuously. But I promise you, with every bone in my body, there hasn't been a soul that has told me that Fish has an opportunity at all. Like, that we vetted him, that we've talked to him, and if somebody did, I don't remember it. That's how little it meant to the conversation at the time. But he's just hanging out. I just like Jed because of when we did the little graphs. I was like, yeah, I like what I see. And he's hanging on in there. This was just as moments ago. Lane sits at 50%. And of course, then you see the one beneath that. Lane has climbed dramatically up to 52%. Now, how Kalshi works, again, you guys want to check out Kalshi, use the link in the description, use the code HIGHTOP to help us out, but also to get yourself a little extra cheddar. It's just like a stock market, right? It's legal in all 50 states, and how it works is you can get in a certain price, and as it moves up, like that Jet Fish thing, right? I keep comparing this to GameStop. If you were in at the bottom and it jumped and you pulled out, you would have made whatever, the jump was for that quick second. Whoever put a lot of money on it, obviously it leveled itself out. But this entire time you could have been making money on this line moving. Now, where it gets really fun are the games, because you can also do the same thing with games. And if you feel like, okay, I go in on a team, the odds will obviously move just like live betting does and live odds do on other sites, but this is based on human interaction and what people are feeling. So it has way more, I would say, movement to it. Maybe you get on the underdog, they take an early lead, that thing skyrockets. You could take your money out then and walk away with it. So it's a really cool way to bet on games compared to your typical way of doing it. And you can bet on anything. Obviously, we're betting on coaches. You can bet on Grammys. You can bet on Oscars. You can bet on all these things. So be sure to check out Kalshi. Kalshi gives you $10 free when you sign up with code HIGHTOP and trade $100. Okay, the link is in the description. Works on Kalshi directly or in the Robinhood app. So this is something that we've used this entire time through this process, because for me, it tells you money is what's causing this to move. And people are throwing money into this thing. You can see the volume, right? So the volume, there's more volume than 983,000 compared to 954. So there's more volume on that Florida Gators, but almost $1 million of volume being moved around, right? So that puts into perspective of how popular this type of bet is, okay? Just like a stock, if you go look at like a big volume or quality stock, there's more money involved with it, what that also means that it takes a lot to move it, okay? So do with that with what you will, that knowledge there. But this is, again, something that has been fun to monitor. The Lane Kiffin, as you can see, has moved dramatically, so that worries us a little bit. But Florida hasn't budged either. The one thing that I wish it did have, and maybe it does, I haven't checked, is Ole Miss retaining their head coach. That's the bet that I need. Let me see if that's on there. Oh, I got it. Okay, it says, will Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss before November 28th, 2025? And right now it's at a 17% chance. So not a lot of bets. But early on when it came out, it was at 65% 2 days ago. So it kind of has dipped since then. But, jeez, my nose. 1 second. So that'll be something that we keep an eye on. Honestly, there's a meeting tomorrow. This line will have to be monitored. Let me pull it up so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. This will be something we keep an eye on. No question. No question at all. So there it is. Will Lane leave Ole Miss before November 28th? Interesting one there. That's what I'm saying. This place is pretty cool. They figured it out. I would love one to say the odds of Ole Miss retaining Lane Kiffin. That would be an interesting one to keep an eye on. And if there is one, let me know. I would love to discuss it, because that would be fun to monitor as well. So again, where am I at? How do I feel? Right? We've read these people's things. We've seen how LSU has kind of navigated this. Talked about a lot of things in our Discord. I've seen the Zach Alberti, Zach Alberti's. I've seen the Graham Halls. I've seen everybody kind of talk about it. And the John Summerall thing, Zach Alberti believes that he still that interview could still happen. Obviously, we know that we know how that rolled out as well. And I was actually talking to Dan Thompson about this, and a buddy of mine as well. We're kind of, people have brought it on the show before, and I really appreciated their take on this. No, he hasn't come to Florida, Bechet. The article didn't say that. The title didn't say that. I don't know why you thought he'd be here. Pretty clear. On what's important for Florida, because again, this if they were to land Lane, we know the investment here is going to be the upper echelons of 13 to 14 million, which is huge. And the expectations are going to be follow that type of investment. But Florida needs it more than just the sense of championships. Florida needs it to go and win 10 games. Florida needs him to come in and win 10-plus games for the next 3 to 4 years to get Florida back into just the rotation of a legitimate threat. Because obviously winning championships are hard. You have to understand that. Like getting to that over that hump is a whole other animal. But making a playoff berth consistently, playing for SEC championships, that's where Florida has to get back to. Nobody can guarantee you, obviously, success further than that. But I think there are some coaches that can come in and get you to that point consistently. And I think that's where Lane obviously falls into that category, because we all, again, this is where the fear comes in. And again, I think Strickland knows this. He has to. He has to know that this is his livelihood. This is his job. And again, I feel that they're doing their due diligence as best as possible and navigating as if that is the case, and understands what it would mean to get Lane Kiffin. Again, the reason my fear, my reason for lack of confidence, if you will, is because I don't know what Lane wants to do. I really don't. We've heard that numbers are a factor, right? Whether it be the yearly thing is an issue, but I feel like I've heard that Florida is willing to go to a certain number. Then I've heard about numbers for staff, and I've heard about numbers for NIL, and they all sound competitive. They do. Like they're all right there. If what we're hearing, if the numbers that I'm hearing, like it doesn't really matter what the numbers are, as long as that it matches whatever that person's saying. That's all that I care about, right? And they're all competitive. They're all the numbers that I've heard would make him rich and make us competitive, and that's all that matters. And that's what I don't understand where the holdup is, because there's obviously more to the contract, I would assume, that's causing hiccups. Has to be, right? Has to be. So, no, Lane has not signed the contract. But there is 900 people in here, and I would greatly appreciate it if you guys could smash the like button. We're hanging on by a thread here. Got a little bit of a, clogged up nose. Doing the best I can to stay alive. And hanging on. So, we will see. We will see. Sorry, I didn't mute that one. I apologize. Hanging on by a thread. But look, I'm trying to keep up and hang on and communicate as much as we can on this side. I want to be also transparent, because I feel like I've done this entire time here. It's gonna get to a point where we're probably gonna hear more and more, and I really feel like with how the media is being used in this, like honestly, and I want to make this very clear. I don't feel that I am this at any point that big to where I can make anything move. I don't. But I've seen how things move. Okay, we've seen tweets that have skyrocketed and been mistaken out of place. I'm at a point now where I kind of just want to get in the bunker with these boys and just go close the damn thing. Like it's that close. Like it feels like we're at the end of the road here, and we don't want to mess it up. You don't want to trip this thing up, and that's kind of where I feel like we're at. And again, it's when all the noise for that Florida is fading. I kept looking around and asking her, like, have we heard anything? And it kind of was just like radio silence from everybody. And you can take that with what you will. I liked it. In a weird way, in a weird sicko way, it was the first time that I actually felt more confident in how things were going. Because there wasn't panic, right? It was just silence. And as I've gotten older, I've learned that sometimes not saying anything at all is more than enough. So that's where I feel that we're at. LSU is the hubris one at the moment. Ole Miss feels confident, as they should, rightfully so. Why Ole Miss ever wavered was very weird. Like that's what you have to ask yourself. Ole Miss was in shambles a week ago, ready to hang it up. Right? So what, Lane all of a sudden just said, never mind, I was kidding? That's the one thing I will say. is between out of the three schools, Florida's side has never wavered. It's been this the entire time. The entire time. Ole Miss Ole Miss doesn't have a clue. Like, if we're being honest, Ole Miss, go watch Steve Willis on our show. On Wednesday, the guy's ready to get butt naked and say, you guys are morons. He's talking nonsense, right? Nothing against Steve, but just like that's how confident he felt. 2 days later, the guy's having a funeral home for what could have been. I played a clip. The guy looked like someone shot his dog 6 times in front of him. And now we're back to feeling good again? And LSU is just, they're just living on a prayer. Like, they came in late to the party. They came in with their crocodile boots on and said, what's up? And that's how they're acting. Like, they don't give a damn. Clearly, because they're fine. They still have a head coach, I think. I don't know. I don't think they know. So, that's, again, I'm just following everything that you guys are following it. I'm having conversations as well. And there's obviously things that we've been asked not to talk about. And respectfully so. Respectfully so. And I'd rather look. I don't want to, yeah. Someone said they tagged me in something, but I don't see anything. Let's see here. Bring Dan on. Up to Dan. Up to Dan. Let me see if Dan's up. Look at the super chats, my man. All right. Florida's playing chess, not checkers. Let's hope so, Anthony. Let's hope so. $5. Believe it or not, this LSU fan actually wants Kenny Dillingham. Well, shout out LSU fan. Not a bad get. Tagged you on Twitter, Anthony. I just looked, Anthony. What'd you tag me in? 50 bones, my man. Eugene, college football calendar is effed at the moment. Any news on that being fixed? Kiffin is focused on himself and that should scare everyone. Merry Xmas to the kids. Thank you, Eugene. Love that, man. And yeah, I think you're 100% right. That's what always has concerned me. It's him versus yeah. We want the Martha song. I figured that's the only reason why you guys showed up, and I don't blame you. We'll play the Martha song. I promise. We'll play the Martha song. Dan's bubbles are floating. Let's see what he says. He probably won't come on, but we'll see. Nah, I'm up watching. I'll pass tonight. Says he needs some time, and I get. He's taking a day. He's taking a day. Let Dan have his day. All right. Let Dan have his day. This will teach us not to yell at the. Okay, guys. Martha fatigue already. Oh man, I don't see what you tagged me in, Anthony. I'm gonna be honest with you. Well, look, I mean, at the moment, this is where we're at. Okay, this is where we're at. I just checked. I literally just checked, Anthony. I mean, it's literally right here, buddy. The last thing I have is somebody liking my boogity tweet. Are you? Oh, Anthony's not. Oh, there you are. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know how true that is though. I saw that video, but I mean, if it is, let it ride. Let it ride. There's a lot of things flying on the internet, man, and it's either going to be 100% true or 100% false, and that's it's misinformation season at this moment in time. Where are you at in St. Augustine? I'm in St. John's also. I'm off of 16 by the outlets. Folks, love the show. Love you too, man. We feel just as fatigued. Toddy. Yeah. Oh man. Well, listen. Great little pop-up show. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm feeling under the weather. I'm going to get some rest. Because we're probably back at this tomorrow with the meeting with Old Miss and Lane. That meeting is a reoccurring meeting that happens every week. before the game. There is no game, so could this meeting be more? Obviously, they did yoga a couple days ago. So what is this meeting going to be? I don't know. Probably just another article for the boys, right, for being honest. I do, from what we have gathered, though, the ultimatum, right, was they wanted an answer before the week of practice starting. And I believe practice will start on Sunday for them because the game's on Friday. So the week shifts up. So that's something to keep an eye on for this Sunday. But yeah. Yeah, the plane tracker was interesting today. A lot of planes flying around, people trying to keep up where it was going. And again, I think that kind of there was some information around, but then people thought that people were they were, and then it came out that they weren't that they thought they were. So that's where it's at. I did see the Josh Pace post where it feels like he's kind of trolling LSU. That's how I took it. That's how I read it. I don't know. I don't know. But I appreciate it again. Like I said, everybody tuning in. I wish we could keep rocking and rolling, but I need to get some rest. We'll close it out with Martha's song, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, I'm sure. We'll probably see you then.
This is Cody, sitting here with Miss Martha and her sweet sister on the line and a cold one in my hand. Chat room done dragged her into this mess. It's Martha Mondays, baby.
Yo, it's Cody from High Top, orange and blue in my vein. Got Miss Martha on the porch, twin sister on the phone, ringing again. 70 years young, but she still throw the horns up. Sipping craft while the Gators run the score up. Sweet tea and cold brew, orange and blue. Martha and Cody, what we finna do? Crack a can, rated 1 to 10. Gator chomp on the porch, Martha Mondays again. This IPA tastes like a lawnmower's dream, but I give it 8.5 cause it's hoppy like the team.